Okay, so I'm feeling very frustrated. That is the reason why I hit record today. I don't know how to look at my life right now. I'm very emotional. And it just sucks. Why do I feel frustrated, right? Like I'm feeling the same way that I felt a couple days ago. And I couldn't really come up, or I couldn't voice the reasons for my frustration. And so I'm taking it out on people in my head, specifically my therapist, because she's the only one that's actually involved in my life. And there's no blame to be had, it's not, there's no blame for the loneliness that I feel, the isolation that I'm in. There's no blame. There's no blame. I can't blame, because there is no blame to be had. There is no blame to be given. There is no blame, It's just illogical emotions. So if I can indulge in my illogical emotions for a second, like I'm just mad, and I'm censoring myself because again I'm smart, and I'm like desperately holding on to my rational mind right now from like speaking just dumb stupid bullshit. Fuck black people. Imagine. There are some people like that though. There are some people out there who are experiencing my anger. The same frustration that has been building up, that is constantly building up inside of me. There are people who'll feel that and then just be like, fucking niggers. My head hurts. My head hurts. We have a monologue in our heads. We have this screen that we project in our minds. It's like our own personal biography movie. We analyze our own lives in our head by playing that movie, The movie that I've been playing in my head, my life, it's causing me frustration and anger and pent up energy, Fucking shit. So I'm on my way to the beach. Because I need to do something. I already tried eating my feelings, didn't work. Hash browns and coffee, didn't work. This is helping a little. So good, well, maybe not a good decision, but the decision that I'm in the process of making is a decision that I made is irrational. After being rational, I get frustrated and I get angry because I'm a lonely boy. No one's to blame for my loneliness, but it's just a fact that no one really cares, except the person that I pay to care. So, but it's not even about that. Again, I'm just being angry, and so like that's the movie, right? That's the story. That's the way I'm looking at my life through the lens of my mind, I'm in the lens of my mind. I'm filming my life, and my life, the story that is being played on the screen is that I'm a lonely boy, and that no one takes an interest in my interest. No one cares about me like that. Except one person. One person does. And I'm not the only person that she cares about. I'm not the only person that she's caring for. She's managed to turn her ability to care into a source of income. And so that's inspiring, honestly. It shows me. It shows me how one is able to do what they do best, and do what they do best, by understanding and being aware of how she does what she does is changing my perception or my perspective on the value of money and what money means. I'm going to the beach, but really where I kind of want to go is I want to go to the forest. I want to go to the forest and I want to go to the beach. Why can't there be a forest in the beach? It's called a swamp. Take me to a swamp. That's where I want to be. I battled, since I have no one else to talk to about this, I battled the Rescue Ace deck. A pretty pure Rescue Ace deck. And man, that was such a fun fight, dude. The reason why it was a fun fight was because it was a competitive fight. It was such a competitive fight. I was able, and I'm running a rogue deck. I'm not sure if Rescue Ace can be considered a rogue deck. It might. I think it might be considered a rogue deck if by rogue deck we mean any deck that isn't being played in the meta. And I think right now there's only about 6 decks being played in the meta. So, I mean, good for those decks, honestly. U-Bell, that's one. Voiceless Voice, Tearlaments, and then there's also Interlap. So like you'll get cards from an archetype being played in these meta decks, just because they have such good effects. But you're not necessarily playing the deck. You're just playing a few cards from the deck. Tearlaments is one of those. Let's see. Scarecrow, Visa Starfrost, I think. But I don't think it's that competitive. I'm not sure about that one. I know it's more competitive than the deck I'm running, but I haven't really seen it that much, so I'm not really sure. Okay, so that's 3 that I named, right? Rescue. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm tired. But anyways, Rescue Ace is a newer deck. It's a newer deck. Newer cards. Really, an example of how much the game has changed. I mean, that deck, those cards, like Yu-Gi-Oh! For a long time, the norm was that when it came to archetypes and structure and decks, were the gimmicks, I guess. Because all of these decks are gimmicks, if you think about it. Like, a gimmick is basically just, I don't know, people use it as an insult, but like, I actually take the word for what it means. Like, a gimmick. A gimmick is like, I don't know. Actually, I mean, it's one of those words that I hear when people are describing like something that's not actually, like, when people use the word gimmick, they're using it in a disrespectful way. So or at least it feels a little disrespectful. So like, while I might not know or understand the dictionary definition of the word gimmick, I do know that I have heard it often, and when I do hear it, people use it in a dismissive way, like, oh, that's just a gimmick, like, oh, that's not actually real. And people have used that incorrectly at times, because if they're going to use that word and it's meant to dismiss something, assuming that they're right, like it's worthy of being dismissed, people are wrong. So people will call things gimmicks, and then they actually turn out to be fucking amazing things. So obviously people's emotions come into play here when it comes to like describing things. So there are some people that would have called the Mech Knight deck that I used as a gimmick deck. But it's actually a rogue deck. And a rogue deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is basically, I think we use the term rogue deck to describe a deck that isn't meta, but can come around and like catch people off guard. Like, oh shit, like you don't, like, even though they aren't necessarily meta, you don't plan for rogue decks. And because rogue deck, okay, so you don't plan for rogue decks because you don't see them that often. That's why they're called rogue, right? They're like decks that are just like every now and again you'll play them, which sucks because they're actually, because you don't want to play them every now and again. Like, they're in Yu-Gi-Oh! You build decks to compete at the highest level, and rogue decks are decks that aren't good enough to compete at the highest level, so people don't use them, but they are good enough to be a headache if you're trying to win. And so that's the deck I'm using with the Mech Knight deck. And I went up against this Rescue Ace deck, and Rescue Ace is one of the newer archetypes, but it just isn't really seeing that much competitive play. But it is competitive though, because I do, now that I think about it, I do remember seeing Rescue Ace a few times in like competitive decks, and I went like 7 turns with that bitch. It was, I was so fucking stressed. I was so stressed, boy. Oh my god. And with Master Duel, they really put a time limit on that bitch. So you really got to be making plays faster than you would probably like to as a beginner. Well, I'm not a beginner. I'm not a beginner. But it was sick, bro. Like, he even popped out the Appaloosa. And like, Appaloosa is this really scary card that has like triple negate, depending. Like, you really have to set it up well, and And so the Appaloosa that they were using only had one negate. But even though like that, like I was still able to like I negated the negator. Like that's the reason why the rogue deck, the Mech Knight rogue deck is so fun to play, because one is a rogue deck, and rogue decks are fun to play, and it can pop up, it can pop negates, boy. Like it is one of those decks that if you draw well, which is not often, which is why it's a rogue deck. It stops it from being competitively viable, because you have to draw well, and the competitive decks are decks that allow you to sort of harder the cards. You get to draw whatever you want. That's where the most competitive decks are. And so this Rogue Mech Knight deck does its best to do that, and it doesn't do a terrible job. The thing is, though, it doesn't really reach its full power until you draw its back row cards. But I mean that's just one play. Like, the cool thing about Yu-Gi-Oh decks, competitive Yu-Gi-Oh decks, even rogue decks, you can I mean, look, maybe this is just me, but you can call rogue decks competitive decks. Like, rogue decks have been known to make some noise in the competitive scene. So like I mean, I can give you at least one example off the top of my head. By the way, I'm like, the reason why I like called myself a beginner earlier, even though I'm not a beginner, is because I compared myself to like elite Yu-Gi-Oh players, and so when I compare myself to them, I'm like, oh, I'm nowhere near, But also, I'm also just very mean to myself. Well, not mean, but like I'm just like, I hold myself to like high standards because I'm ambitious, which is one of the reasons why I get so frustrated and stressed. I'm a lonely boy, and growing up, it seemed that once I reached an age where I was old enough to have ambition, I learned that was the way I got the most praise, and I really, really, really wanted praise. I really, really wanted praise. I really, really, really wanted praise. So, no blame. Again, I don't. There's no blame to be dealt here. Because being a parent there's no perfect parents out there. It's just you are the parent that you are. You get born into the family that you're born into, and so I get stressed. I get stressed and I get frustrated. So I compare myself to other elite Yu-Gi-Oh players. And even though I have no idea of what their games are like, I'm not comparing them because I'm like studying their games and I'm comparing my game to their game. I don't even think that's possible in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, everyone uses decks. Like, how you play those cards, those are for sure different. And it does kind of beg the question, is there a right way? Well, if you're trying to win a championship, are there specific ways you gotta play the cards? I mean, life is beautiful because there are no right answers. So everything is kind of theory at that point. And so I guess I'm just inquiring about the theory of Yu-Gi-Oh. The theory of Yu-Gi-Oh. Whoop. But it was a fun duel, man. Rescue Ace, I'll be honest, even though during the battle I was doing my very best to win, I'm really reflecting on it. I'm really happy that the battle happened. Like, I'm really happy. I'm really like satisfied and content that that I had that battle. I got to learn a little bit more about the rescue waste monsters. And I got to test out my own skills and my own limits. And let me tell you, I panicked. I mean, listen, boy, when that clock is running down and you got 4 seconds left, or else you lose, you forfeit, man, you really got to turn on the gas, you know? And if I had just maybe a couple more plays, oh, man, if I had at least a little bit more time on the clock, that would have been dope. Yeah, I mean, that match, even though I lost, is leaving me kind of excited for the next one that I have. Hopefully I win, you know? Hopefully I win. I'm here, by the way. I'm not going to get off. I'm going to go to the gym and work out because I'm very strict on myself. But hopefully I have a productive day. I mean, there's some things that I'm going to work on, like my resume. Probably not, you know. Like, I have been working on my resume. I was finally able to submit my application for the Getty, which was cool. I just saw a very attractive young woman, so that was cool. Oh, it's kind of warm, huh? Yeah, it's warm. Vista del Mar, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm gonna go cruising. Vista del Mar. Vista, baby. Vista. And so this was good. This was a good release. A good release of pent-up tension, pent-up frustration, caused by my ambitious side. Frustration is good. Well, I mean, maybe not good, but frustration can be useful. Frustration can be useful for ambitious people like myself. When we get frustrated, frustration isn't necessarily a feeling that we enjoy feeling. And so, for ambitious people, when we feel frustration and we want to get rid of it, it can be useful because then we want to get rid of it, so it'll lead us into action. Hello, beach. Hello, coast. It is indeed the coast. It's the coast, baby. My neck. Let's open up the windows and feel that breeze, huh? Let's feel it. Let's feel that breeze, baby. Oh, yeah. Woo! Life! One is the loneliest number that you ever knew. Two can be as bad as one, but the loneliest number is the number one. I'm ready, baby. I'm ready. Let's go. I've got energy. Energy. I. I've got energy. Oh, energy is what I have. So these videos, you know, I call this YouTube channel Digital Journal, and it is my strategic way of giving myself love. Gotta love gotta love this guy. You gotta love you, Ismael. You gotta love you, brother. Because if you're not gonna blame anybody for your suffering, then you gotta love yourself. Then you got to love yourself. That is a rule. That is a mother rule. That is a rule, baby. That is a rule. If you're not gonna blame anybody else for your fortunate shit that happens in your life, or the unfortunate feelings that you feel, then you're gonna love yourself. Then you got to. You gotta love yourself. I love me. I love me. I love me when no one else does. Allow me to be clear here. I don't mean that there is no love, because if no one loved me, but then I would not be the person that I am today. What I am saying is that the love I have received has come in a form, a specific form, and that specific form of love that I have received has been the predominant type of love, the type of way that I have received love, and so it has shaped and influenced my personality. And so I make this YouTube channel to supplement or to show myself a different type of love than I have been accustomed to. I'm accustomed to a certain type of love. That love has me wanting for more. A nurturing love, a sustaining love, a love that nourishes my emotions, that provides me room to grow. No, the love I have received has been financial love. Love where I never have to worry about a meal. Love where I never have to wonder if I'm going to have a place over my head. Pros and cons, no such thing as rights and wrongs. Woo! Boy is spitting facts. I, through this video, and through all the videos I've uploaded to this channel, am providing myself room to grow through love. And so, the goal, the aim, the mission, I guess, if you will, is to provide myself, an all-encompassing love. I've had love from my mom and my dad that has taken me this far. Now I'm going to fill in the gaps. And we'll see how that goes. I might have to sacrifice a few things for that. I might have to sacrifice any potential relationships that I have. I guess I will. If I don't need those relationships, then I don't need them. If I'm able to give myself what I've been missing, then what do I need a relationship for? What do I need? What do I need? I don't, you know? Like they say, friendships are important and like relationships like that are important. Sure. I mean, it's not like I'm saying that they're wrong. It's just that what I need, you know, I guess it just begs, like, if I'm gonna stay ambitious, if I'm gonna stay an ambitious person, then yeah, I definitely will need friendships at the very least, reach my ambitions and my goals and my desires and my wants in life. But if I decide to abandon my ambitions, and I'm able to do so in a healthy way, then I won't need for friendships, and my life will just be perfectly content, perfect life, chasing a perfect life. Following this train of thought, right? My perfect life in this train of thought, in this thought process, would be that I'm able to be self-sustaining, that I will be able to continue to give myself love that I've been missing. But then again, this is all just a matter of my current state of living. Everything is going to change when my parents die. When they pass away, even when my therapist dies, because she's fucking old, everything's going to change. So I'll have to do this process all over again. The process that I'm in now, I might have to continue doing it. I might be in a perpetual loop here. Maybe I'm looking at 50, maybe I'm looking at 50 years old when I'll finally have some stability. Yeah, because let's say I'm able to achieve my mission, right? The goal that I mentioned about giving myself the love that the other half of my love, right? I got the love that I had growing up, right? But now I need to fill in the gaps. That other half, that's where people say, oh, that's where love would come in, right? But I guess I would rather just give it to myself. Is that even possible? Is it even possible? That's the goal of this YouTube channel, is to give that type of love to myself. And it might be, and it's possible. I think it's possible. And then if I do that, what do I need a relationship for after that? Then I can just go crazy and have sex and not give a shit. Well, I am tired. That frustration, right? Frustration is energy. And so I was able to expel some of that energy in the process of this video.
The music is just the beginning. Join us online for the entire experience. California, KUSC, and KUSC.org.
All right.
Somebody once said the Rossini overture is like a brightly colored clothing.
I'm going to end it now. Bye. Thank you for listening.